Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this evening, Michael, followed by other host, Kat.
Hello.
And other host, Sage.
Hi.
I feel like it's been a minute since all of us have been on here.
Has it? I
don't
feel
know.
like it's only been like 2 weeks.
I don't know, I feel like it hadn't been since the Anime Club. That might be
That
wrong.
is not factual.
Yeah, I don't
Is it
think
not?
that is correct.
Not at all.
Oh, all right, well, hey, what do I know? I'm editing
Not
too many
much.
episodes to really know what's the
They
order
all
of
just
anything.
melt together.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, it's the same faces. Who cares?
Pretty much. I know that we have a week till the Anime Club.
We sure do.
That's mostly all I know.
You know what? I guess that's enough.
Well, hey, you said that you wanted to start with something.
Yeah.
A real gem of a movie.
Oh, yeah. So, the other day, right before we were going to bed, we were like, let's just put some garbage on the TV. And then, like, when we get sick of it, we'll just turn it off and go to sleep kind of a thing.
Right.
And I saw, as we were, like, scrolling through the options on Amazon Prime, they have Captain America 1991. Now, I did not know this existed.
I didn't know this existed.
And I was just like, you know what?
It's pure
Fuck it.
gold.
Let's just throw it on. How badly could this go?
Yeah, and you're just trying to find something to pass the time anyway.
Exactly. Just to be like, oh, lull me to sleep.
Yeah.
Who cares? So, started watching it. I think Mark made about 10 minutes into the movie until he actually gave up, turned around and said, no, I'm not watching this, and
Okay.
put the covers over himself.
Oh my god.
So he wouldn't have to see the TV.
What a quitter.
I made it about an hour, maybe a little bit more.
And you didn't finish it?
I legitimately could not get through this
If
movie.
you're that far into
Yeah,
it,
if you're already
you
that
have
far.
to.
Well, it was a really long movie. It was like 2 hours and change. And I was like, why is this
You're already
movie
that
so long?
committed. Come on.
But-
yeah, like I
but
feel
what's
like I would
crazy
just finish it.
And it was already going on like 10:30, and I was like, I gotta go to sleep. I'm old. I
It's
cannot.
97 minutes.
I cannot be stay. Oh, it,
Only a little over an
You
hour and a
gave
half.
up.
It felt like
Like 30 minutes left,
15
maybe.
No, like 15 minutes
it
left.
felt like it was a fucking marathon.
You have to turn that shit back on, and you have to watch the
yeah,
last 15
I
minutes.
have to finish it to see how it ends.
Yeah.
This thrilling story.
Oh my god.
But this movie moves at a glacial and lightning pace.
We love those.
Like, it is so rough. It's like the opening scene is like World War II, like Italy, and they're doing like experiments, and then they create the Red Skull. And then the doctor that's helping them like feels guilty, so she flees to the United States. Then it's to some other. Then we fast forward to some fucking random ass kid that you just know is gonna be Steve, right? And he's not handsome. And I'm just like, this. Chris Evans would never. He would never let us down like this.
Well, that's why they gave it to him.
Yeah. So then this random kid, blah blah blah. Who cares? Who cares? He's like on the way to like become the super soldier. But then out of nowhere, you see this random girl, and he's just like, "Oh, Bernie, I must go now." I'm like, "Who the fuck is Bernie?" This is apparently his girlfriend or love interest or wife. I don't know. So then he becomes the super shoulder, and he sucks at it.
Super shoulder.
Yeah, just one shoulder gets huge. He becomes Captain America. He sucks at it. He is on a mission to stop a missile launch.
Okay.
And I had to pause this because this is, by the way, all in like the first 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought we were getting to the whole hour.
No,
of
this
what you
is. It just cuts from like scene to scene, no transition, no guidance at all. Just throws it like character introductions. We don't need those. Just right into it. Who
Basically, the
cares?
entire, I almost said original. The entire MCU Captain America first movie. But instead of having it be a full movie and he wakes up at the end, it's just the first 5 minutes.
He literally wakes up in like the first 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's trying to stop this missile launch, and the Red Skull is there, and the missile goes off. So he hops onto the missile, and the missile is going right to the White House. And I had to pause it here because I said, whoa, 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 whoa. This is World War II. I don't think they had this kind of technology to be launching missiles across the fucking globe
Okay, well,
to a direct location, in which Mark confirmed for me they did not.
right, but that's in the comics.
I don't care.
First of all, in the MCU one, they have tech that disintegrates people.
I guess that's fair.
What do you mean?
I can suspend my disbelief for like
Everything
nice,
needs to
high
be
quality
real.
things. But anyway, when it's like complete garbage, like I have to like.
At least in the comics originally, he does jump onto a missile to stop it, and in the ensuing explosion from stopping it, that's what sends him into the ocean, freezing him.
Okay, well, so what happens here is the missile's going to blow up the White House. So he's on the missile, and some fucking snot-nosed kid takes a photo of him on the missile going towards the White House, and he somehow kicks the missile to redirect it so it doesn't hit the White House.
Yeah, as
and
you
of
do.
course the snot-nosed kid is like, I'm gonna be president one day, so he of course becomes the president, but that's unrelated right now.
What?
So then the missile just keeps going into Alaska and then eventually runs out of fuel because it can, and then he just gets snowed in by a blizzard in Alaska. Past 40 years, then we have a montage of the snot-nosed kid that wanted to be president.
No, good.
Newspaper clip montage of his achievements up to becoming president. So then he's the president, and they find Captain America in Alaska, and it's some random fucking. It literally says that there's a sign like German research team Alaska, and I was like,
Okay.
why the fuck? I'm so confused. So they find Captain America, and he's in like a block of ice. Mm-hmm. And just his like fingers are sticking out, which I'm like, those fingers are done for. Like they're gone. They were not preserved with everything else. All right. So they find him and they're all just like, what are we supposed to do with this fucking human we just found in this block of ice? And it's not even like, oh, they melt him, right? No, he just bursts out of the ice.
Good.
And he sees like the researchers are just wearing like black and red like parkas and shit. And he's like, Nazis. And he runs away. And he's trying to like figure out how to get back to the United States. I don't know if he knows he's in Alaska, but he's trying to get back down south to the lower 49.
Cartoon shit.
It was very cartoony. And
shit, Nazis.
And then it's like global news that they found him in Alaska. And the president's friend is like a journalist, but also really into conspiracy theories. So he goes up to Alaska to try and interview Captain America.
Okay, wait. So do they think that he's a hero, or do they think the missile was his?
They say he's a hero.
They say
I'm reading
he's
the
a hero.
synopsis.
Okay, 'cause I was like-
They got a picture of him kicking the wing of the rocket to make it go away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure which way this was going. It was either going to
No,
go the
they
way
think
of,
he's a hero.
or it's going to be like, I'm going to be president so I can get that guy because he's the one who did it.
No,
I'm going to be president specifically to
Yeah,
go
so I
get
can
this
see
one
this
dude.
guy up. Taking the picture, like that's kind of where it was going.
So the journalist friend goes up to Alaska. Well, actually, he meets him in Canada, but
Okay.
to get like an interview with him. But he thinks that he's a spy for the Germans because his car is like a Volkswagen, which is made in Germany, and he has like a Japanese, like made in Japan, like voice recorder thing. He's like, oh, he's a spy. So he like
Oh yeah,
tricks
Captain
him.
America in this movie, very racist.
Yeah, so he like tricks this guy being like, oh, can you pull over? Like, I think I'm going to feel sick. And the guy's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he gets out of the car, follows him, and then the Captain America just jacks this guy's car. And he's just driving. I'm like, first of all, sir, how can you, like, you don't know where the fuck you are? He's like looking at a map. He's like, he literally picks up a map. He goes, Canada. And I'm like, what is going on? So he's driving for God knows how long. And then he shows up at like his girlfriend, love interest, partner, I don't know, her house. And he sees her daughter and he thinks it's her. Even though has completely different hair, but they use the same actress.
Yeah.
Completely
Okay.
different hair.
I like how they got this name right, but not Peggy. Because they named it Sharon, which is his actual love interest in the comics.
Yeah. So, yeah, the daughter's name is Sharon. So he's trying to be like Bernie, and she, like, clobbers him with a shopping bag. And she's like, Mom, some fucking creep is out here. And so, like, the mom who's Bernie comes out, and the dad And she's trying to like explain to Steve. She's like, Steve, you were gone for so long. Like,
I
I
have
needed
needs.
somebody in my life.
I have needs.
Yeah. She's like, but I always knew you were alive. And she's all.
That makes it more fucked up. Being like, I knew you were alive, but like I wasn't gonna wait around. Like,
Yeah.
Sucks.
So supposedly she says that she'd waited for him for like 13 years before she decided she like just had to move on. She had no other choice because she really wanted kids and she was getting too old. And so she was like,
That's
yeah,
fair, I
fuck this.
guess.
I got to pump out a baby before it's too late.
I knew you were alive, but I had no means to find you, and I waited 13 years. I
Yeah,
feel like that's
very
a fair
reasonable-
enough. Yeah.
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 Like 13 years, I think that's more than enough.
I feel like that's more than enough at that point. Like, I didn't know where you crashed. How am I going to find out where you are?
Right.
it's just a weird statement of I knew you were alive. Like
Well,
that's
because
the
they
weird
thought
part.
he died. So I think there was like newspapers of being
Yeah,
like,
they
no,
all
but
thought-
oh, he
her to
dies
be
on this
like,
mission.
Yeah,
But she
nah.
felt that he was alive, kind of
Yeah,
a
she
thing.
felt it.
Yeah, she felt it in her.
Also, I would like to point out that in the 60s, apparently Red Skull and his goons are hired mercenaries who killed Martin Luther King Jr., John
yeah,
F.
yeah,
Kennedy,
yeah.
and Robert Kennedy.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Because this article makes a point that they're like, so yeah, they're hired to kill all these incredibly famous people. But then for whatever reason, Red Skull decides, why are we going to murder this new president? Instead, let's kidnap him.
Yeah. So he meets up with the old love interest. She's old now, whatever, who cares? And then we like flash to Red Skull and he has a daughter and he had like, as they say, extensive plastic surgery because his face is fucked up. So he got like skin grafts on his face so he can have actual face. And the daughter is a part of his goon squad.
Does
And
he fuck the daughter?
Captain America?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I thought you meant Red Skull. I was
Yeah,
like,
I was
oh,
like,
Why did I mean that?
Because that was
That's
just
what I was
what
talking
she
about. But
You
anyway,
need to break that up.
So-
I'm like, all right, hold on.
sorry. No, I mean Captain America.
it's the wrong kind of movie.
Yeah.
But
God.
but yeah, so he's to the daughter because they see in the newspaper that they found Captain America, and Red Skull's like, my old friend Captain America, and he's like, you got to go like snuff this guy out. So the daughter and like she's got like her own goon squad, so they fly to the United States to like try and track him down to kill him. Unsuccessful. Who cares? Literally the most horrible, awful action scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Also, this Red Skull's Italian for some reason.
He is Italian, yes.
Okay.
Just some like random Italian
Yeah,
kid.
literally, it literally says in this, they grab a random Italian child.
No, they literally. So in the opening, they're like,
He is a prodigy.
yeah, they're like raiding this like house, and they're taking the kid, and they're like, oh, he's like, his intellect is what we need.
The
for our-
Italian,
knew
the,
that from-
the Italian
Yeah, and the
fascist
kid
government.
and the kid is like 8 or 9 years old. And I'm like, wait, what?
It just
when
says the
we
Italian fascist government kidnaps child prodigy.
But what's
Okay.
weird though, so they turn him into Red Skull, but when we see him as Red Skull, like we don't see him as like a baby Red Skull. He's just a full adult.
Okay.
Hey, like they just time skipped.
I don't know.
I would assume.
Yeah, I would
they
assume it's a
did.
time skip
there
because
is
it's
a time skip in this
1930s to
movie.
1940s.
I assume there's a time skip, but they never like say it. They say every other time skip except for that one, and I'm like, all right, maybe it just helped age him up. Who knows? Not me. Like he looks fucking. He's wearing. You know how like those rubber masks, and they look very fake and horrible. So he has one of those on, and it's just rough to look at.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, he sends the daughter to kill Captain America. It doesn't work out. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? And then, weirdly, so she fails the first time, and he gets upset that she failed, and she's like, "No, like I'll do it. Give me another chance."
What a guy.
Yeah. And so then he sends her out again, and I don't know why. So she goes to like try and assassinate him again, and they're in the he's like, "Oh, we have to go to the lab where I was created to find the doctor's notes." Yeah. Oh, also that suit that he's wearing, I don't know if you can tell in the picture, but it somehow looks like latex rubber and cloth all at the same time. Like
They just used what they had.
like it looks hard and uncomfortable, but it also
Not his
wrinkles like
pants.
fabric.
Yeah, his pants don't look.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
And can you look this up for me? In Captain America, the 2011 one, in his first Captain America outfit, do they have cutouts for his ears? Or is it just like a
I don't think
cowl
so.
that like fully covers his face and like ears and stuff? Because in this one, his cowl or whatever you would call it has cutouts for his ears, and for some reason it looks really weird. It's like actually kind of distracting, and I don't know why it's like
Maybe
that.
the actor complained about it, so they had to
Maybe.
cut him out.
But also it's because it sits like so weirdly
No.
flat on. No
Is it?
cutouts, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the in the 91 version,
God,
there's
the
your-
Avengers one is just, it's somehow even worse than the shitty one that they made for that tour. Like, because you can understand why the first Avenger thing is bad.
right.
That the fucking Avengers one is just so crap.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like it's
It's too.
the
No,
most
there's
corny.
something satisfying about his shield and then his little like corset, like
Oh, matching up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just that Avengers one is just
It's just because
horrible.
I mean, I feel like it's a pretty direct translation to like the Tor one, but
It is.
like it feels more goofy because it's serious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think especially the helmet doesn't do it any favors.
No.
Like,
No.
there's not enough of something in that helmet. Like, because the rest kind of still are the same, but like,
You know what it is? I feel like because the helmet in the Avengers one, all the other helmets he has like a chin strap going on. But the Avengers one, it just looks like the fabric continues. You know what I mean? Like the chin strap feels like a separate
yeah.
piece. So it doesn't seem so like awkward. But
because when he's wearing that in like without the helmet,
Mm-hmm.
it looks fine.
it's just like a little bodysuit.
Yeah,
Little
like
catsuit.
it could be worse, but then the helmet just makes it worse.
I think
Yeah.
it's because it looks like the helmet is attached to the entire outfit.
Yeah.
Where in the other iterations, it seems like it's something that's physically separate that you'd put on by
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, this 91 version has that same problem of like it is attached to the whole outfit, so it looks really weird. But yeah, this movie shot terribly, looks awful. Like I was watching it and Mark was like, I don't remember movies looking this bad in 1991. Like I'm telling you, the quality was not this shit.
Yeah. Okay. I
What was
thought
their
so. To be
budget?
fair,
$5.
the ears are cut out in the comics,
Yeah.
so that's why they were doing it.
Right.
And
Wait,
then
can
they saw the movie and they're like, let's never do that again.
Yeah,
let's
they were
cover
like-
those up.
Yeah, because in the comics he still is, and he still has the fucking disco go-go boots and everything. Like it can only
But
work in the comics.
I was gonna say, I feel like in 2D you can get away with looking really goofy.
Also, their budget
Yeah.
was $3 million.
$5.
That's essentially the movie of $5.
Right.
So
But yeah, no. But the quality, it just looks like it was shot on like
It was released in the
someone's
Philippines as Blood Match.
blood match. It just looks like someone took like their own home camcorder
And
like,
did it?
that you're, you know, like when you were really
maybe it
little
was
and
a
you're.
stylistic choice.
I don't know why. It's horrible to look at.
The cinematographer is one of the only people on here who you can't click on because they don't have anything else apparently.
But it looks like a home video from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
That's the quality we're talking about. And like watching it on like a modern television is not doing it any favors. But you know how sometimes you'll watch like an older movie and you're like, this really doesn't translate that poorly on
Yeah.
like a regular like modern TV where you have like the super ultra like 4K whatever bullshit. But this looks terrible. Like somehow everything is extremely dull and muted color palette wise, which I don't think was intentional because they have a lot of scenes that are outdoors that you would think would be like really vibrant and nice. And his costume is red, white, and blue, so you'd think that would pop.
Yeah.
No. Everything is so dull to look at. Like it's really weird. And I'm like, why did you do this?
Well, I assume no. But have you seen The Flash yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
I
I'm
only-
waiting for it to come to HBO.
I was gonna say I only went because I could go for free.
Okay, that's fair. Because I was gonna say I don't want to like.
I paid for a different movie with my paid. I used my AMC stubs, but
Right.
for a different movie at the same time, and then went. So I supported a different movie, and then was like, I'll go.
Yeah.
I've been seeing. I feel like I've been seeing like 50-50
Yeah.
online. I am in the camp that I think it's bad.
I heard they
Ryan
had
hated
like
it.
some pretty shit graphics.
So all right, so I said this in my letterbox thing too. I try not to shit talk VFX artists because it's always a time and money thing. It's
Yeah.
not their
It
fault.
seems like a pretty thankless job.
Yeah,
To be honest.
and also the way like it's all set up at the moment is also really shitty for them because say Marvel goes up to basically it's like a bidding war. Marvel goes,
Right.
hey, we have 2,000 shots that we need VFX work for, and one shot can be removing like a wire, and another shot could be removing a wire, changing out the green screen, adding smoke effects, adding a fire,
Right.
adding explosion, and that's just one other shot.
Right.
And so there's no and there's no difference between those. It's just hey, 2,000 shots. That's it.
Right.
And so it's just a basic bid on the 2,000 shots in general, regardless of how different
How
and-
involved it's
yeah.
gonna be
and,
per
and,
shot.
And it's the same. It's not like hey, it's like hey, we'll do the job for $2 million. Obviously more than that, but $2 million,
Right.
and we'll do it in 3 months
right.
or whatever. And so basically it's like hey, that shot that has the explosion, the smoke, the fire, the wire removal, the replace background, you need to get that done in a week because every other shot needs to be done in a week also.
Right.
Like, so I almost always try to give the benefit of the doubt that they were probably screwed over.
right.
But boy, are they not great. And they're trying to like, regardless of if it is true, because the director was like, oh, it's supposed to look like that because you're seeing it from Barry's point of view while he's running. And I'm like, regardless of even if that's true, which is a big if, it still looks bad. So you shouldn't have done that.
I feel like if
you should
you're-
do what looks good.
If you're doing it from Barry's point of view while he's running, where he's literally running faster than the speed of light, right? So fast that he's going back in time, right?
Well, not always, but yeah.
In perspective of this movie, right?
But yeah.
What is he seeing? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
He's seeing like a fucking blip.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, technically, the way that his powers are working is that the Speed Force adjusts for things that he is always seeing what he is doing. That's how he doesn't run into things. And
But when he's running so fast, because
he still sees.
okay, because I've seen
His
it in
brain
other,
can interpret that information.
because in the like animated movie Flashpoint, which is essentially this exact same storyline.
Yeah, except better.
Yes. This same storyline, but better and shorter and just more
Better.
enjoyable to watch. Like in that one where you have the running scenes, especially with him doing time travel, it's just like motion lines essentially.
Yeah, that's for
it's
the
just 'cause
audience.
It's
Yeah, it's
animation,
animation. But like, because in live action, you'd still want to see something as like, because there's scenes where he's like running from Central City to Gotham.
Right.
It'd be more interesting if you're seeing. So like, it's just like basically a oneer,
Right.
But it's not because it's all CG of him running from A to B, and it's like going through cities, towns, over water,
Right.
whatever. And like, it's a cool idea.
But you could.
But it
I
looks
feel like-
bad.
I feel like you can so easily get away with doing like how they do in Justice League and also Teen Titans, where you have Kid Flash or the Flash, where you see like their trail line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I personally I like that stylized look. And
I
feel
agree.
like
There were
they could
definitely
get away with
ways that
doing
they could have
and
done
it
it.
would look good.
They could have still done what they did, but just gave them more time, and it would have probably looked good. It would have looked as good as Ezra Miller's dumbass run.
It
that
would have
he
looked
has,
better.
That they have,
Right.
Because I don't know why. What's even worse, right, is that they have that dumb run where he's like throwing his hands, right, for no reason. But then there's the other version of Barry that runs normal, and you're like, just have the person run normal, whatever. So that's not the point.
Wait, is other Barry also the Flash or no?
Gets turned into the Flash.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch this movie, so I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know
I
how
know.
close it is to
Yeah, I know
Flashpoint.
some things that Ryan told
Right.
me, but I didn't see it.
It's not like the animated movie really at all in
No.
any capacity. Like because Thawne isn't even in it.
Really?
Reverse Flash isn't has
Yeah,
nothing to do
that's
with it.
one of the things Ryan was most upset about because it was like,
Wait, but
why
what's the point of doing this specific story without him?
There isn't.
There was never a reason to do Flashpoint anyway.
I
There
mean, you're
was
right.
no
Like, I
reason.
was
They were trying to write this Flashpoint movie like 10 years ago.
like, I think you're right because you already have a Flashpoint movie that was done better. But if you're gonna do it again in live action, why remove the villain?
I don't even think the point
Who's the
was
villain
to
then?
remake it
Nobody?
as live action.
Barry?
though.
Barry's the villain.
Like, Barry's just fucking up his own life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, that is the point of Flashpoint.
I mean, yeah, but
Barry, even in that thing, Thawne literally says, "I did nothing. You did all of this."
Yeah.
Like the only reason that Thawne is there is to A, make fun of Barry, and because and B, because Thawne did kill his mom.
right.
That's why he goes back. But like Thawne didn't do anything with Flashpoint, so that's still technically right.
Right.
And the only difference is that because as someone that knows enough about comics, you're like, it's satisfying to see Thawne make fun of Barry for the fact that he himself fucked all this up and had nothing to do with it, because you know how fucked up Reverse Flash is. And he's pointing out that you as a hero, you didn't go back to stop Hitler. You didn't go back to save the president. You went to go save your mom, and I had nothing to do with this, and this is all your fault.
Right.
That's the only reason why it's satisfying for
And-
Flash to be
and
Reverse
then-
Flash to be there.
So in this, when we see Batman, is it
So you
it's not it's Bruce's-
spoilers for the Flash.
I was gonna say I don't want to like
Do
say
you care?
I don't care.
Okay, all right. So spoilers for the Flash, if you care. Just as a general thought, I'll put a time skip I guess on here. But as a general thought, I don't think it's very worth it. The CGI is not great. There's also a lot of cameos in this movie that are kind of really fucked up in a lot of ways, not just visually. They are visually fucked up. But also morally fucked up.
I love to see it.
And it's just not great. And don't support Ezra Miller because
I
they're an
feel
awful
like-
person.
DC just needs to stop.
What I would like is if James Gunn was just like hard cut off, don't even release the next Aquaman movie, just stop, and the first movie should just be, I guess, Blue Beetle. I'm a little iffy on Blue Beetle, but Blue Beetle and then just Superman. Like, go from there. But I'm also iffy on all of it. But I like to think James Gunn knows what he's doing, except the fact that he hired the director of this movie to make the Batman movie. And but the Batman scenes were kind of fine, so hopefully that's a good thing. Anyway, so spoilers for the Flash. Movie starts, regular universe, Batfleck, who I still like. I still like Batfleck. I wish he got a good movie.
I
Kind
know.
of bummed about it.
He's
He's such a good Bruce Wayne and Batman.
I actually really like him as Bruce as well, and I feel like
The only
he's
thing I
just
don't
getting-
like is the built-in scowl in his mask.
Yeah.
Past that, I think he's a great Batman, and I think he's a
He-
really good
the-
Bruce.
but
He's a perfect Bruce
But
Wayne.
I feel like Ben Affleck keeps getting done dirty.
He does.
Like-
the same with Henry Cavill.
In the time that you're having Batfleck as part of your like extended universe, and then you have the Batman movie, instead of Batfleck, you're like, you know what, Robert Pattinson, let's change it up.
so
Yeah, but it was always going to be
weird.
separate.
No,
No,
Because
I
think
know
he did a
it's
good
separate,
job.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, you have this momentum.
well, they were
with
gonna
Ben
have they were
Affleck,
gonna have him direct his own Batman movie,
And then
it just
you-
fell apart.
right?
Oh.
But you have him with this
was
momentum,
the only
and
reason he
people like
originally
him
said
as
yes.
Batman,
Oh.
and then you don't do anything except to have him in other people's movies.
And written bad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a bummer because like the way that Bruce is usually drawn, like you could just slap Ben Affleck right onto that character and be like, that's the same person. Like, so you know, it is kind of a bummer. I wish that he got a chance to really show himself.
Yeah.
And the some few times where he is written well, it's like you can see how good he could be.
you can see the potential.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a bummer. But anyway, starts with him.
Right.
Barry learns that he could probably travel back in time, and he's like, Bruce, what should I do? And he's like, don't. That would
Yeah,
He's like that would fuck up a lot probably. And he's like, but I can
And then
save your
Barry
parents.
says, "You're right." End credits.
Yeah, well, he says you're right, and then does it anyway. Also, his suit. Another version of the Captain America when the helmet's off, it looks fine, but when the helmet's on, it looks really bad. I think when his suit when he's just wearing the suit neck down, it looks fine.
Ryan said it looks like it's spray painted.
I don't like it, but it's better. And then the helmet comes on, it's like too bulky, and it just looks bad. But anyway.
Wait, is it different? They made a different suit than
Yeah.
what he had for Justice
Yes.
League?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, he ignores Bruce, goes to the past, changes the past, saves his mom. And that's where Michael Keaton Batman is.
Okay.
Who's the only hero there until they learn about the fact that there was still a spaceship that crashed, and he's like, that's got to be Clark.
Right.
We need to go find Clark, because they go back to when he fixes the past and he runs back. He gets knocked out of the time, his running.
Yeah.
And he lands in basically right when Man of Steel is happening.
Okay.
Except there's no Superman.
Okay.
So Zod's just there ready to fuck shit up without anyone to stop him.
Okay.
And to be fair, you do get this kind of interesting scene when Barry's talking to other Barry about this whole event, because, he hasn't experienced it.
Right.
And you see this moment where you learn that Barry had gotten his powers 2 weeks before Man of Steel happens.
Okay.
And he went to Metropolis to try to save people, but he didn't know how to use his powers, and he could literally only save one kid.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a fucked up scene, but in a good way, you're like, yeah, this would be traumatizing for somebody that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. If only Ezra Miller's Flash wasn't so goddamn awkward. But
I feel like they ham up that awkwardness nerd kind of vibe.
I really don't like their characterization of the Flash. I'm not even a big Flash fan. I just don't like the characterization they chose.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I have a much more limited view of the Flash, but I feel like Barry and Other Things is not this brand.
This is much more
awkward.
like Impulse.
Okay.
And even still,
'Cause I
because
feel
Impulse is just ADHD to the max. He can't pay attention to things.
Right.
Because his brain's moving so fast, everything feels slow to him.
Right.
And he doesn't have the patience to deal with that like the other Flashes do.
Okay.
Barry is usually slightly awkward, but mostly just a pretty fine science dude.
Right.
And Wally is just a wisecracking joke dude, but he's also he's not as smart as the others, but so his deal is mostly just comedic.
Yeah.
But he's not an idiot, or and he knows how to talk to people.
Yeah, he's just a smooth talking.
Yeah, he's
joke
charismatic,
cracking,
basically.
Yeah.
No
He's
Flashes
the
to my
funny guy
knowledge
of
are
the
written
team.
like they have this portrayal of Barry for some reason.
Right.
But anyway, that scene pretty cool. Wish it was with a more competent portrayal, but whatever. So they're so Ezra Miller is like, hey, we need to find a hero. Who the fuck exists? Aquaman, whatever. And he finds out he changed the timeline by the fact that Back to the Future doesn't have Michael J. Fox as the lead actor. It's somebody else. I don't remember who the fuck the actor is.
Okay.
And so then he's like, what about Aquaman? They're like, who the fuck's that? And he goes through a bunch of heroes, and then somebody off the screen is like, Batman. He's like, what did you just say? And they're like, Batman. And they're like, he fucking exists? And they're like, yeah, of course he exists. So they go to Gotham. They find out that he's just basically been a recluse in his mansion in Wayne Manor. He doesn't even go out as Batman anymore, because apparently Gotham's now the safest city in the world in his thing. He just gave up, and they fixed it on their own. And convinces him to help, as you do. And they find out where Superman probably landed. They go to the planet, to Russia, because it lands in Russia. And it turns out that it's not Clark, it's Kara.
Right. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they run. They get her out of the fucking building, and get her to sunlight. I will say, for the limited time that I want to say the real character's name is either Sasha or Sarah. I don't remember. The actress that plays Kara.
The real character.
Sorry, the real actor. Is really good. I don't know what the weird trend is that they don't cast people that have blonde hair as with blonde actors, but whatever. That doesn't really matter.
Okay.
But I do find it odd that I feel like there's very few blonde people that are actually blonde in any of the movies.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's just so easy to go blonde. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, yeah, but they didn't do that either.
Oh, well, I don't know what to
The
tell you.
characters aren't blonde.
Yeah, but like I said, that's just a aside. It doesn't really matter. But so anyway, she's really great for the short time that we have that character. Is slightly, I feel like a slightly rushed arc, but for the short time we have that character, really good. She's great. I would love to see her in more things if possible, but they might just cut ties with everything and just fully stop. But so she shows up. They go to Zod. They go to fight Zod, and they learn that you can't change everything. Some things have to happen, and they learn in this fight with Zod that Kara is always going to die and Michael Keaton's Batman is always going to die. They can't change. This world is doomed. It's always going to be doomed. Zod is going to destroy the world regardless.
Right.
And the Barry from that world, not wrong timeline Barry,
Right.
is like, we can't just allow that. We got to keep going back in time. We got to keep trying to save them. So they go into like this little time room, basically, that this movie created,
Sure.
to like show a visual of it. And both of the Barrys are in there, and the original timeline one's like starting to realize that they can't save this, that everything's wrong, and he has to go back and change everything. And the wrong timeline Barry is like, we have to fix things, and is slowly going crazy. And every time he shows back up in the bubble, he has like more damage done to him, until you see basically a like really fucked up thing like run up and start fighting them, and it's the Barry from that timeline. He's like, I've been doing this, and I will keep doing this until we get this right. And Barry's like, I see that this is all wrong now, and I shouldn't have done any of this. And he goes to kill main timeline Barry. Wrong timeline, jumps in front, gets stabbed, and is like, I realized this isn't how I should do it. I should be a hero. So by killing wrong timeline, that version of Barry disappears because, you know, they're the same person.
Right.
Barry runs to the past, talks to his mom for 5 seconds.
Hey, Mom, bye.
But like without
Fun getting killed.
yeah.
Bye.
And takes the thing, and basically lets it happen. But then realizes, wait, what if I change it again anyway? Because in the beginning of the movie,
Yes.
they had a security footage that was always corrupted until like literally that day when he goes to run into the past.
Okay.
That then didn't exonerate his dad. And that was like, they were waiting for that.
Okay.
And so he's like, what if I change it so that basically his dad went to the store to go get some fucking
Milk.
pasta sauce.
Sure.
And he didn't look up into the camera. That was the problem. So he moves the sauces that they need to the top shelf so his dad would look up to get it and see into the camera. And so then he like exonerates his dad, and he walks out, gets a call from Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I have so much shit to tell you. You were right. I'm so sorry. And car drives up. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm here outside the courthouse. I'm coming. I'm walking to you now. Gets out of the car. It's George Clooney, Bruce Wayne instead.
Oh, that's funny.
And realizes he's everything's still fucked.
Right.
So anyway, that's like the end
Right.
of that movie. During the moment where they're in the time bubble and the wrong timeline keeps fucking everything up, they start seeing worlds crashing into each other
Right.
and ruining their universes. And in that, we get a bunch of those cameos. We get like a very off-screen kind of like side view of Adam West's Batman, like CGI kind of done.
Okay.
We get Nicolas Cage Superman
Okay.
fighting the spider that was originally going to be his movie,
Okay.
but not real Nicolas Cage, CGI Nicolas Cage for some reason, because they couldn't just
Get
use
Nicolas
him.
Cage.
But they said they did, and I'm like, there's no fucking way, because he like turns and it's like a weird distortion around it. And I'm like, whatever you did, if he was there, is horrible. They got the Supergirl that was like from the TV show that was around, that was supposed to be in the same universe as Christopher Reeve's Superman, and they
Okay.
have Christopher Reeve's Superman together. Again, dead actor, weird,
Right.
because nobody can say yes. And then
Right.
the more
Unless
fucked up
there's,
version.
like a state can sign
Yeah.
off on it.
The more fucked up thing, though, is that they show, I want to say 50s. There's an actor that played Superman in like the Adventures of Superman. It was like a movie or TV show. I forget exactly which. Back in before the Christopher Reeve Superman, and this actor killed himself over being stuck in the role as Superman because he couldn't get past that in his career. And so he got really depressed about it.
That's terrible. Oh my god.
And there is nobody alive from his family today that could have signed off on anything. So that's really weird and kind of fucked up in multiple ways, that you're putting in a dude that killed himself
Even
over
in
being
death.
Superman.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So that's gross.
Yeah.
And it's so weird. They show another version of the Flash that is apparently supposed to be John Wesley Snipes de-aged, which he was like, I didn't do that. I guess they just did it. And so that's weird. And everybody
But
was
like,
and-
are they allowed to just use his likeness?
I guess. And there were like 3 different Flash actors that they could have just actually had. Like, they could have had the TV show Grant Gustin actor. They
Right.
could have had John Wesley Snipes actually show up. And the third one that I'm forgetting the name of. Like, they exist. You had Ezra Miller in the TV show universe for like a quick cameo.
Right.
It's like, it's just so weird. And the fact that a TV show with a TV show budget was able to do this storyline better.
Yikes.
And they also explain the fracturing of the universe way better too. From like going back and changing something.
Right.
It's so weird and fucked up. And it's just Ezra Miller is like the worst part of the movie.
That
And
is
they are the main
so
character, and there are
unfortunate.
2 of them.
Yeah.
So
And
it's,
there's 2
so
of
it's
them.
even worse. And like it's really fucked up. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on. Like, it's just, I don't know. When
They should not have come out with this movie.
no, not at all.
So what pushed them to release it? Because wasn't there talk that they were going to just scrap it?
I think they were just like, it was.
We
it
want
was
the
already,
money,
it was
whatever,
already
it's
there.
finished.
Yes.
It's probably contractual shit or something. It was already there.
Right.
Like, because I think the point was basically they're like, let's just put it out because it will reset the universe.
But
and then we
didn't
can
they
just-
scrap like a...
Yeah, Batgirl.
Yeah. So...
Who everybody said was going to be an awful movie.
But it's like, why
Because
did they scrap
for some
that,
reason James
but
Gunn was
not
like, I saw this and it was great, and I was like, I don't know how much you actually believe that, or are you just saying that?
I don't understand.
I don't know. It's
like, if you didn't scrap any
but
movies,
people do
then,
like it.
Whatever.
So like
I don't
again,
know.
this is coming from my point of view because I've seen many people be like,
Okay,
there's just
so-
a hate campaign online. This movie's great, and I'm like, I disagree with you,
So
but
the people who like it, are you seeing it's more of people who don't know the Flash and are just like
I
going to
barely
see
even
it?
interact with the Flash. Like, I'm not a big Flash
Okay,
reader.
you've been going on for 20 minutes. You definitely know more than the average person. I'm asking about
No,
that
they
average
seem to like it
person.
in general. I've seen comic people that
Oh,
are way
yeah?
more into the universe
Huh.
also like this movie.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is that, like, the things that they say that they like were all the things I brought up that I didn't like. So like I don't know. I just like I'm reading this stuff and I'm just like I don't know how you got to this point of view to like this movie. But like, hey, good for you, I guess. I hope you're not doing it like to support Ezra Miller, but like also as a general audience thing, most general audiences wouldn't know that they're fucked up anyway. So like, because somebody brought up a point, they were like, this movie isn't failing, like, because movies don't really fail because of shit like Ezra Miller or the James Gunn saying that this doesn't really matter, because he basically said the start of the DCU is Blue Beetle, like the first character is Blue Beetle, but the first movie is Superman. He came out and said that before this movie
Okay.
came out.
Okay.
So you're like, so he basically cut the fucking movie off at the knees anyway.
But wasn't the DCU already started with weren't they already like gunning for that when they were having Batman vs Superman into Wonder Woman into
That's
Justice League?
DCEU.
Oh, I'm
That-
sorry. It's completely
No,
different.
well, no, because I mean that's like the Snyderverse. That's what people are being upset about, that the
okay.
Snyderverse should exist, kind of thing.
Okay.
So what James Gunn and Peter Safran, when they took over, they're like, hey, we're restarting stuff, but like some stuff has to come out, whatever. So like what he said was basically like, where our plan actually starts is the Superman Legacy movie. But I guess when he says the first character is Blue Beetle, because they didn't have anything to do with the movie, because it was already basically done,
Right.
is that they plan on keeping the character, but the first movie that matters is Superman Legacy.
Okay.
Yet they're still going to release the Aquaman movie for
Aren't
some
they
reason.
gonna keep Ezra Miller? Wasn't that a thing? That
They
they
keep
talked about?
like kind of saying that for some reason.
So
And boy, do I hope that a lot of people, what I've seen a lot of people talk about, and I think they are right, which is the Flash and Green Lantern as heroes would work way better in a movie like the Spider-Verse, in that kind of like stylistic animation wise, than live action. You could have characters, use them when it's like a team up movie or something, but like their solo shit should probably just be animated.
right.
And I am inclined to agree with that. Like,
Well, I think especially for someone like Green Lantern, where the powers can be so creative, whatever you can imagine and make with the ring, right?
yeah.
In live action, you're immediately limiting to yourself to what can we make look realistic.
Yeah, so with Green Lantern,
Where in animation, you can do whatever you want.
yeah, their plan is to do a serialized TV version for Green Lantern, as like a cop detective show. Because the Green Lanterns are space cops.
Oh, okay.
Do they have like a network slated already? Please. do
HBO
not-
Max
Oh, okay.
or Max.
Right. I don't know
Um,
why they changed their name, but sure.
Yeah, because they're more than HBO.
Even though the tagline is Max, the place to watch HBO. Like you're like,
Yeah,
all right.
when I the other day I went to go open my like HBO app and it was like,
You
oh,
had to
go to
leave to
yeah,
go- yeah,
and
I
I was
saw that
like,
too.
I was like, you couldn't have just updated the
Yeah,
app.
because I have it like favorited in like
Yep.
my
Right.
tabs, and then I clicked it, and then it made me go fucking somewhere. Like,
but I was
really?
like, what? But what purpose does it serve to switch like change over your app? Because it's not like they change anything within the internal app.
Well, they did technically. It doesn't work the same.
It feels like it's the same.
But like like, you know how you could just kind of tap down a few times and then it'd be like director, screen actor, like that stuff doesn't exist. You have to go to a different tab for that stuff now. Like, so it is
So
different.
that's
They changed
worse.
it. Yeah. It is.
So they made it worse and forced
They
you
got
to use
sued.
it.
What?
By who?
because they stopped crediting everybody as individual titles.
Really?
And the screen actor, the Screenwriters Guild, the Actors Guild, and the Directors Guild were all like, yo, you can't do this. It literally goes against our contracts.
Right.
And they were like, we're going to sue you if you don't put it all back in. And they were like, oh, it was a mistake. And there were so many website and like app programmers that were like, no, it wasn't. They were like, because you have to choose to turn that off.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was already there.
Yeah.
So
Right.
like they had to choose that.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole thing. Everybody was like, we're going to fucking sue you if you don't do it.
Foolish mortals.
But yeah, so it's going to be on Max.
Okay.
But yeah, the Green Lanterns are space cops.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to do like a cop drama show, which is kind of cool. I think they might have said like True Detectives. I don't remember exactly, but like rad. But yeah, that's why I'm like,
Are they using Hal Jordan?
I think it's Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart.
Oh, okay.
I think, which is great because Hal Jordan's boring.
I was gonna say but also I feel like we never see Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart's objectively the best Lantern. It's Jon Stewart, Kyle Rayner, And the only reason why Kyle Rayner is cool is because he's a graphic designer, and so he just makes cool shit when he makes the
with the
constructs. Yeah, he makes the Gurren Lagann logo at one point in the comics.
Oh, that's funny.
So he has a spot in my heart because I'm like, yeah, cool, Kyle Rayner.
Biased.
Except he did also. Kyle Rayner is the character where fridging became a thing. Do you know what that is?
Fridging?
No. Okay, so fridging is when you
Throw
kill off a
someone with a-
female character that's tied to the person just to motivate them. And it's called fridging because to motivate Kyle Rayner, they had a character kill his wife, chop her up, and put him in their fridge.
All right.
Just to motivate him to do something. No other reason. Nothing else. Just killed her to motivate him. So it became a term because of that, fridging, which it had been a thing for a while. Like, you know, the girlfriend dies or the whatever. And
Right.
it was just like somebody finally was like, this is really fucked up and we need to have a conversation about this. And so it became fridging, which is now like a thing that people use if they ever do shit like that. So now it's much easier to avoid because like people know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting, like, I thought maybe it would be something silly. Like,
I don't
they
know
got, like,
what I was expecting,
like
but
a
not
refrigerator,
that.
like, knock them out, something stupid. I was
I
not
don't know.
expecting it to go to, they cut
There's literally a
them up and
website
threw
called
them in a
Women in
refrigerator.
Refrigerators. It's just about fridging. Not that they're all in for fridges, but like,
Oh my god.
But it's
happening
the
too
general
often.
principle.
yeah. It's just
So what are other examples?
Yeah.
so. All right, so here it's like women in refrigerator syndrome, a literal trope in which female characters are injured, raped, killed, or depowered in a way to be used as a plot device intended to move male character story arcs forward.
I hate
So,
it here. Yeah, give
Andrew
us some
Garfield's
character
Spider-Man?
explanation.
When Gwen dies, would that be fridging?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, would you consider?
Because nobody kills her specifically, but it says like push the plot further.
Yeah.
So like,
I don't think it's like
Is that
every
fridging?
example. I don't think she counts as fridging.
because someone has to kill.
It has to be intentional by the villain to like take out your female
I'm
partner or
confused
love
on
interest
the-
to be
yeah.
like, ooh, look how bad I'm being. Let's keep it moving, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
I think fridging for Gwen Stacy would be when they decided that she was alive and had Norman Osborn mind control her into loving him so that they would have kids, and that fucked up Peter. I think that would be more like fridging
guess so.
than
Okay.
her dying.
Can the Joker killing Robin be fridging?
No, because it's specifically women.
I was gonna say, I think
Fridging
it's,
is specifically women.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
using
think it has
a
to be a
woman
female
as a way
character.
to drive a male character.
Okay.
And also no, because it was voted on.
Okay.
it was voted
Yeah, you
on.
know that.
No, what?
Yeah, the when Jason Todd was going to die or not die, it was in the scene right before when the building explodes.
Right.
At the end of that comic issue was like a phone line. It was call this number or call this number for he lives or dies.
I did not know
And
this.
more people baked in.
More people chose to have a almost maybe not even 17-year-old child die in an explosion because they didn't like
Wow.
Jason Todd. To be fair, famously they found out later that a lawyer had set up a call line. This was back in the 80s.
Right,
He had
where
set up
you
a
had
line
call
where,
lines for
where it
votes.
kept calling in.
So cheated.
Yeah, so the dying won by 88 votes, and he had called over 100 times.
Wow.
How much did this lawyer hate Jason Todd? Good lord. What is this fully grown adult lawyer being like, no, let's kill off this comic book character
Just for funsies.
for funsies.
But yeah, so so it has to be a female character.
Okay.
And okay, it's not considered fridging because the story isn't about her dying. It's about Peter's experience with his girlfriend having dealing with the trauma of having his girlfriend die and of him dealing with the fact that he can't save everybody.
Okay. And also, does the girlfriend or wife or whatever have to end up dying?
No, because he said that raping and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
counts too.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure if that was encompassed within the dying, if that makes sense.
But apparently, it's kind of like some people look at her death as being fridging, and some people view it as not.
I would view it as fridging, but I've only just heard this term now, so who am I to say?
But who knows? But yeah. Anyway, so it's just because I think it's in a way that is specifically motivated that like because Kyle Rayner's wife, from what I understand, because I never read comics around that time,
Right.
is that like she didn't really have anything going on anyway.
She was just like there.
Yeah, and so they were just like, fuck it. We need a reason for Kyle Rayner to be mad, so kill his wife. Like where Gwen Stacy was always like kind of involved and
Gotcha.
like and was always dealing with the thing, and then like her being put in danger, but just this time Peter didn't save her. Mm-hmm. That's how I'm interpreting this. I could be
Okay.
wrong. It might, but it seems like Gwen Stacy's death is a bit more up into interpretation.
Okay.
A bit more purposeful than
Yeah.
Kyle Rayner's wife.
Means more than just being angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? Because like I said, it seems to be kind of split from what I'm looking up. So
Gotcha.
depends. But yeah. Anyway, The Flash isn't a very good movie. I like most of the things that don't involve Ezra Miller's Flash are actually kind of enjoyable. Ben Affleck's pretty fun. Michael Keaton's pretty fun. The action scenes for both of their Batmen, pretty good. Which is why I'm hoping that this director can make a good Batman movie. Hopefully. The everything and Supergirl also good. Just not great CGI. Ezra Miller's Flash is the worst. Basically all the times he's on screen. There are interesting moments with his character that would have been better if the character was
Just someone else.
or just portrayed differently. I've never liked Ezra Miller as an actor to begin with. Even before all this stuff. So like I might be even more biased, but it's more that like I've seen them act as different people and portray different things. It's mostly A, I don't like them, and B, I don't like this portrayal.
I feel like once Ezra Miller got into like the major franchises, they became a worse actor.
I never liked them in any of their stuff.
Like in like earlier career, I didn't mind them. They were never like my favorite actor or anything like that, but I was like, yeah, they're all right. But then once I saw them in the Fantastic Beasts series, I was like, this is not good. I also understand that this material is not good. So like you can only go so far with shit material, but this is not good. It is rough to watch.
Yeah.
And it's just been a slow decline from there.
Also, I would like to point out that fridging is also a thing where it's like people are using the word more than it actually pertains to things. It's one of those things that people like take fridging in as an example for a lot of more things than it actually is.
Oh, okay.
So
like
it's like a thing that it's
more general encompassing term
Yeah, like
than something like super hyper specific.
Yeah, like fridging is a specific thing.
Right.
And people will use fridging like it means a lot more. Like people that use literally. Like,
I understand what you're saying.
People just kind of started using the word in a way that it's not actually meant to be used.
Yeah, it becomes like such a overused slang term that it kind of loses its original meaning.
Basically. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that with the fact that we know some of the stuff with James Gunn, that some of the main properties are going to be animated. Not everything is a live action show or movie.
Yeah,
that
but
I'm
are they
hoping
going to animate it and then scrap it though? Like, or are they going to animate it and actually put it out?
I mean, they made a timeline like the MCU does. I am assuming that they're not gonna just get rid of it.
No, just because I remember the whole drama of like you were saying, like they're scrapping the Batgirl movie,
So
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So that was all the stuff they didn't make.
Oh, okay.
So they have like their phase 1, and that's that's part of their plan. So like basically what they're doing is they are getting whatever if something is not live action, whoever is voicing the characters are also being chosen to portray them in live action too.
So we're not getting voice actors, is what you're telling me.
Possibly, but we don't know that for a fact.
I feel like we know that for a fact.
But probably. But yeah, probably. But I don't know. I have more faith in James Gunn to make something that doesn't suck
Okay.
than whatever the fuck they were doing beforehand.
Okay.
Hopefully. Who knows? It might all just be too gone at this point. But my hope in general is that James Gunn seems to be taking this in a much more interesting way, in that comic writers are being actively involved in scripting and plotting for certain movie plots, and they are constantly showing comics that they are going to be basing things off of, and like being like, hey, this is going to be from this. Check out these comics. They're like this. Go read comics.
Right.
So like at
That
the
feels
very
like a good right step.
yeah, and
the right
unlike
direction.
the MCU or Marvel in general, where Kevin Feige runs Marvel films, TV, comics, and games,
Right.
and the comics are slowly becoming like the MCU, and everybody hates it.
Right.
It seems like James Gunn is very more in like, we're not changing the comics.
Right.
We're just going to be influenced by them. Go read comics.
Right.
Which is great, because
Isn't Kevin Feige tired though? Like,
I assume he
I
delegates
would
so
be
much.
fucking exhausted.
I would assume he delegates so much, but people are pissed because they just killed Kamala Khan in the comics, Miss Marvel, and they killed her in a Spider-Man comic, which is weird because, well, the Spider-Man's been awful for a long time. I think I talked to you guys
Right.
about this
We were
originally.
talking about that.
Yeah. They killed Kamala Khan in a comic with Spider-Man because she pretends to be like Mary Jane, and the villain kills Mary Jane because she can like kind of morph herself into people, even though she hasn't been able to do that in fucking ever. They just decided she has that power again, whatever. She has maybe interacted with Spider-Man like 5 times in the entire existence of her being around. And he's like traumatized by this. And it's like, you don't know each other. And what's even worse is like the latest issue, he's like depressed and he's like sleeping next to her mask. And it's like, this is weird. This is so bad. Everyone's like, it's a step away from him being like, the world doesn't need Spider-Man anymore. And putting on a Miss Marvel costume and being like, I'm going to be Miss Marvel now. But everyone basically is like, you know what sucks? They're probably just going to bring her back in fall, and they're going to make her a mutant and give her the powers that she has in the fucking MCU. And basically everyone's like, that's probably what they're going to do, which sucks because her powers in the MCU are fucking lame.
I was gonna say, I feel like her powers in the MCU are kind of stupid.
They are. Her powers are much more. Yes, she's Reed Richards fan with stretchy powers, but that's. It was like the whole point of her arc when she was originally existed, and astral projection powers are fucking lame.
Yeah.
She's not Green Lantern. Like,
I was gonna say it's Reed Richards' stretchy powers, but not the same,
right?
and it's worse.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so it's they're like slowly making the MCU like, or Marvel Comics like the MCU in certain ways, and people are not
into it.
not happy about it. I barely even read Marvel at this point. A lot of their stuff, I just. Not
But
great.
why would you I feel like having one guy as your main creative director for all your assets,
Well, so like,
it just feels like a mistake.
yeah, he absolutely delegates all of that.
But
like he definitely doesn't really touch the comics. I would imagine.
I can't imagine he is, but at the same time, if
he's just the head of Marvel.
if you're like the head guy, but you get to decide on everything, I feel like all of the creativity gets lost.
Yeah.
I guess that's in part why like Phase 4 low-key sucks, but that's a different topic.
Yeah. Well, now we're on Phase 5,
I know. I hate it here.
and there's the whole thing with Jonathan Majors. So, yeah, it's Hey, well,
Did Secret Invasion start already?
the first episode came out today.
Oh, okay.
They used an AI generated intro. Disney, the billion-dollar corporation with money to fucking burn,
I literally
decided to
hate
use
it here.
an AI generated intro.
I need AI to actually crash and burn.
Literally, they were like, the director came out and was like, oh, like the point was that it's supposed to look weird and like off-putting, and that's supposed to give you the mood for the show because the Skrulls and being anybody and stuff.
Right.
And it was like, okay, but it looks like shit, and you could have just paid actual artists to do that same thing.
Yeah. I hate 8-Eye. Like, literally, I can't stand it.
I don't know. If there's any upside, it was a pretty solid first episode of a spy thriller,
Okay.
but it was also kind of edited weird.
Was it like paced weird or like?
No, like there were weird cuts. Like there was a part where like a character I guess gets hit by a car, but they don't show him. They show him like run into the street, but then they cut to the character chasing them. And then you hear a car horn, and then it cuts to them like bouncing off another car and hitting the ground. And you're like,
that
was
does
a weird,
sound weird.
That was a weird cut. Why didn't you show them getting hit by the car?
Right.
I don't know. There were like 2 or 3 cuts that were kind of like that. It was a little odd, but overall, it's pretty all right first episode.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a rant about comic book movies. Hey. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Vaguely Random Podcast. You have 1 week to go and watch One Punch Man season 1, and
I was so gonna watch the wrong show. For some reason, I thought we were watching Mob Psycho, and I almost watched that today.
great show. I would recommend it.
What if you just came in and
And
you were
it
like,
just- I had
Mob
no
Psycho was excellent, and we'd be like, what
No,
are you
like,
talking
you'd
about?
Start it. I'd be like, okay, Sage, you can start. Okay, so One Punch Man. I'll be like,
Oh fuck!
I watched the wrong show. Thank
Just
God
get
I
up and leave.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll be back. See you guys
BRB,
later.
I gotta go
Yeah.
watch these 12 episodes.
I'm
I'll
gonna
be
go
right
sit in
back.
my car for 4 hours and just watch
Get like
it.
some snacks.
Yeah.
Um,
So good thing.
Mob Psycho is great though.
But that's not the
It's
show.
just not
Yeah,
the
nope,
anime.
sure
Yeah.
isn't.
So
Anyway, 1 week to watch One Punch Man season 1. It's 12 episodes, so
Yeah, it's pretty short.
pretty quick watch, and it's great. I know because I've already watched it before this. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, follow. Don't forget to check out Kat at Kat the Moonstar on Twitch. And that, I guess that's everything. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.